Okay, so this is a weather radio that comes on in case of emergency. It's an emergency radio notification. But what I wanted to show you today was a lot of times you'll get things, sometimes posters or like picture frames, and they'll have these keyhole slots. There's all kinds of things that you may want to mount that has a keyhole slot. If the paperwork doesn't come with a template, which a lot of times it will, it's tricky to mount these because you don't know exactly where these are. You don't know exactly where these are when you put it on the wall. So how do you kind of guess what the distance is, where it's at, and all that? So here's a little trick. This is your tip of the day today. So what you'll need is a Sharpie, a level, and what you're gonna do is you have to decide where you want it mounted. So the first thing you check, if it didn't come with hardware, which this one did not, you have to find your hardware and make sure that hardware fits in there inside of that keyhole. So once it's added, it'll just slide right in there. So there's a good fit. I have 2 screws. I'm gonna place it where I want it. Sometimes what you can do is kind of put a tick. If you're gonna do this where it's gonna stay out, you're gonna want to do this in something that's erasable, unless you don't mind dots on your wall. But so there's where I want it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little dot kind of back where I can see it, just a little indicator dot, and then the dot. So I put the dot there, and I'm about 1.5 inches lower than that, so I can see the dot. I mean, you can't even really pick it up. It's right there. I'm pointing to it with the antenna. It's right there. Okay, so this is where I want to go. And then what I'm going to do, and here's the trick. Here's the trick of the day. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in line with the top of the keyholes and make a little mark. Now you could use like a piece of wood, like I did the same thing with this piece of wood right here. If you do it right on the level and you get tired of the, you know, I have a level like a 4 and 6 foot level and have a ton of marks on them. What you can do is just go through with alcohol and wipe that right off. If you ever need to remove Sharpie, here's another tip of the day. Sharpie comes off with some alcohol, just regular old rubbing alcohol. All right, so here we go. So let's put this up here. We're just kind of centering it in this space. I can see I have a tick mark here, and I have a tick mark here. So I'm coming down. If you have you need more accurate, you can measure all these. You got to do that ahead of time. This is not super accurate at this point. So I'm just kind of gauging. I have a mark here. I'll put it out front so you kind of see it. And I have a mark here. So now I'm gonna make sure it's level. I'm about the same distance off of here. So there's the top of my radio, and this is in the back of the radio where this is where those keyholes are. So I make my level, then I come up, make the dots in line with there. Simple as that. Take that off, grab my screws, put my screws in the wall, and you gotta leave them stick out a little bit. So let them stick out just a little bit. Alright, that should be good. Right about there. Okay. And then there's those keyholes. I just put it in, push it out. Now it's installed. And that's how you use a level to mark your holes for a keyhole.